My younger brother, who had a major stroke, is getting out of the nursing home and is moving down to Cincinnati over the weekend into a ranch house. The next 2 weeks are gonna be very, very busy, and that meeting might very well be canceled. Because to be honest with you, out of the 3 of us that are left, I'm the only one that's well. And I just spent the I just spent the last week in the hospital, so.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
So anyway, if it gets canceled,
Okay, it's on a holiday.
well, I know, but if it gets canceled, that's why the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna ask you to bear with me a little, because it's gonna be very hectic.
Understood.
Good luck to them.
Yeah, good luck to Danny and Casey.
That's all I've got.
Questions? Maintenance Department update, Mr. Kellums.
Okay, Ford Development has started on the Silvercrest Garden project, if anybody's been over there. Silvercrest is, sidewalks basically in, they've got to do some restoration on that street and go on the garden. They're really moving forward, project looks great.
Dan been over there to run interference for him?
Yes, Dan, yeah,
Yeah.
all day, every day.
Good.
Except for the past 2 nights. So Dan has only been working a little bit in the morning, because the past 2 nights, he was over here at the intersection for the final completion of the Galbraith Road project was to put the brick pattern on the street. And that was just done last night, Sunday night, because apparently the guy doing the project, Aramark, had to search the whole country to get enough product to do it, because the supplier was making something else that said we won't make it, too expensive to change from one process to the other. So it took him this long, since we paved, to get the material. And that was just installed last night and the night before, so it really looks nice. They did a great job there. So with as good as those 2 projects have been going, Onyx has gone in the exact opposite direction. If you remember correctly, last year we had a problem with the Onyx product that we put down and improper wear, premature wearing. So they agreed to come out, redo the whole thing this year along with a new portion. And with September being so wet, they were pushed back up in Michigan. They kept being pushed back, kept being pushed back. They just got here last week. Now we're pushing temperatures. They went out yesterday to do some. Their machine broke down. It has not been a good experience with this company. And this is a company we've been using forever and have had no problem with them. We've been using these guys for 25, 30 years. So I'll be having a talk with their rep and really working through this to see what we're gonna do, because this isn't acceptable. In the first place, they pushed us back too far. They couldn't, even if the equipment broke down, they couldn't get all the stuff that they were supposed to redo from last year done, much less this year. So I told them, don't worry about the new contract, because we won't pay any money until the old stuff is fixed and we know it's gonna work, so. It's kind of in limbo right now.
And that'll be spring.
Yeah, it will now be spring.
Okay.
So how that goes. It's been a great product in the past, so this really surprises me. So the next thing I have is an agreement from ODOT. I believe Mr. Miller has a resolution for this. This is between us, Sycamore Township, and Prime AE Group as for construction engineer services on the fiber project, which is a state project with state funding, federal money, which is why we have that construction engineer. It's a 50-50 split. ODOT has already encumbered the money. So the contract with them to be the construction engineers for $33,050. So our share is $16,525.
Resolution to that effect?
We have a resolution determining to install the fiber optic interconnect system within Sycamore Township, authorizing a contract with Prime AE Group, Inc. for the Sycamore Township Interconnect Project Phase 2 and dispensing with the second reading.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, discussion. Mr. Miller?
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. LaBarbera?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Now, so everybody knows, that is for construction engineering services, so it's not for the installation.
And that's the best price.
Well, that's the only price. You have to put in RFQ, you get requests for qualifications. We did that, this was the firm that was picked, then you negotiate with them for price. After you negotiate with them for price, then it goes to the state. The state reviews everything, makes sure everything looks good. The state has a certain amount of money that they, like a scale, that they will pay for construction engineering. So after the long process of picking some of the qualifications, then you get the price from them, then it goes to the state, then the state sends you back and says, yes, this looks good, and your funding has been received and you can proceed.
So the state has signed off on this contract
The
at this
state has
price?
signed off on it, yes.
Okay.
So it's different than a request for proposals where you're trying to get a contractor and you go out and you get a bunch of different prices. This is for engineering, so you go out for qualifications. It's a little different process.
Thank you.
So next, I have a proposal from Sitescapes. This is the best proposal that we've got. This is for the Kenwood median landscaping. As you remember, we hired Carpenter Marty to be the engineer that put this plan together and got the cooperation from the county. And this is for all the site work and the landscaping. And this is for $46,575.
Okay, wait,
So
where's this gonna be? The
In
meeting?
Kenwood medians.
By where Arby's is?
No.
No, I mean by
Kenwood.
where
Wendy's.
Wendy's is?
Yes.
We're gonna pay $46,000 to do something on that median.
Yes. Unless you don't want a landscape.
I don't know landscape. I don't, okay.
I mean, there's a lot to it. You have to put irrigation out there. And this is the landscape and the site work. You know, all you've got out there now is grass. We need to put electric in there. We need to put concrete in there. We need to put water in there, backflow preventers, new meters. So the 46 is for the dirt work and the landscaping. So there's more to it than that. So I just wanted to bring this proposal to you. We do not have a resolution, so I wanted to see how you felt about that before we asked Mr. Miller to do it. We also have a quotation from Lita for $21,985, and that's for the water taps, install backflow preventers, set new meters, concrete work on the islands at the ends, and install banner pole foundations and erect banner poles.
Make a motion, we instruct our law director for a resolution regarding the landscape.
I will second. Discussion?
A discussion, I'd like to hold up on this. Let's see how things develop. I would like to table this thing and put it on hold.
What are you
We've been holding
expecting
up
to
for 3
develop?
years.
This has been 3 years in the making.
First of all, it's the counties, we're spending $46,000. I don't want the median. I don't want the median.
Well, the
So I
county
was
said that
vocal-
they,
I was
median is
vocal
not
on that. I was
going away.
vocal on that, and I've had discussions with Tim Hubbard over and over again.
And I have too, and he said it's not going away.
Well, we'll see what
Maybe.
happens.
Let's see what happens.
I disagree, I don't want any part of it, so that's
Well.
fine, do what you're gonna do. I
Okay.
think you're throwing money away.
Additional discussion? Mr. Miller?
Mr. LaBarbera?
Nay.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman? Aye. I'm gonna send me this stuff.
So next I have, this is for Sycamore Road project. This is some additional engineering the TEC had to perform that was above and beyond the scope after the stage 3 plans were completed, we had to complete stage 3 plans before we could go out and get right away from everybody, because you have to know what's going on. So, part of this is for miscellaneous plan changes due to right away, because we needed 70 people to sign off. We needed basically 65 easements, whether temporary or permanent, and some of these were changes that people required in order to get that. So that part of it's 12,180. Another part is an establishment plat. This was something that the county said that we had to do, that TEC had to do in case they had to go to take property. You have to make an establishment plan before you even know if you need it, because the process is so long that if they have to take property by establishing the roadway as the project, you have to have that made. So that's 19,134, and it ended up that we didn't need it because everybody agreed, except for one house out of 70, and we just managed to engineer the project around them. The project will still go through, they were just removed from the project, because that establishment hearing wasn't worth one residence. So then, underground detention, we had to redesign this. This was a huge project. If you remember correctly, we have a lady over here on Sycamore who's getting flooded out from all the water that comes from the whole west and south side of Sycamore, goes through their yard. I mean, they have a very bad flood problem. So we've been talking to the county for this since this project started. And we finally got the county to share in this. They're going to share costs of the construction. I have not had a chance to talk to Ted, get an answer from him about this, but I would like for him to share a cost in the engineering of this also, which was an additional $19,564, which has put a large detention system directly under the road. I say large, it's about 8